There's so many ways to design a yoga practice. It can be on your physical form. You can take a pose and essentially repeat the actions of that pose throughout the practice. You can work on a specific muscle area. You can work on a specific feeling, like a feeling of ease or a feeling of patience or a feeling of joy. For this practice, I'm designing it around a singular pose, Salambhasana. Salambhasana is a strong pose for energizing, for revitalizing, for strengthening your back muscles. So often in the West, in the practice of yoga, there's a lot of emphasis on the front side of the body, as there is in different practices. But in the East, in the practice of yoga as it's traditionally drawn, the power comes from the back body, from the back muscles. By focusing on these back muscles in Salambhasana, you gain this amazing vitality that backbends give you, thereby creating a sort of launching pad for new projects, for refreshed energy, a sense of renewal that strength in the back body gives you just naturally provides an inner strength and inner courage. Let's begin this practice using a block. You might want a blanket as well, and we'll be standing. Take your block between your inner thighs and pull in, draw in toward the block. So you feel this squeezing sensation. It engages the legs really nicely. I've got my knees slightly bent. With the knees slightly bent, you draw the tops of the thighs back. You feel the block. Now look at the block and see if you can scoot the block back a little bit more. That from the inner thighs, you're moving the block back, right? It tends to give you a feeling of more spaciousness in your pelvic area. Now, can you keep that and come toward straight legs? Now, if that doesn't work for you, if you feel like you lose it as you straighten your legs, then keep your knees slightly bent. So we'll apply these actions of drawing back from the inner thigh or inner spiral as you maintain this drawing in toward the imaginary block. You draw back with a strong inner spiral of the upper thighs. Now keep that action in mind, and we'll come to lie on our belly. On your belly, you can stack your hands and press your head into the stacked hands. I'm going to keep my head slightly lifted to avoid the sound getting slightly muffled. Now bend your knees just as we did. Squeeze into that imaginary block and see if you can get a little bit more space in the lower back by slightly lifting through the inner thigh area. It's as if something is kind of pulling that inner thigh area up and thereby widening the low back area. So from there, with your toes spread, so the legs are engaged, you're squeezing into the imaginary block while you're getting that inner thigh lifting. Just lift up your right knee. Take your right knee down. Take your left leg up and down. Even as you're lifting your right leg up, can you still maintain that drawing in action while you're lifting up from the inner thigh? Lift your left knee up. Toes are very active. And take it down. One more time. Lift your right knee up and take it down. Take your left knee up and down. Now straighten your legs with your toes tucked under. To keep your toes very active, therefore toning the legs. And again, your forehead can be on your stacked hands, or you can even create a pillow with your blanket if you've got it close by. So inhale, lift your right leg up. Now, if you're not able to get that feeling of hugging in, I actually like a bent leg better than a straight leg for myself, because I miss that action of hugging in, taking the inner thigh up to get a little bit higher. Your choice, straight leg or bent leg. Release it down. Do that same thing with the left leg. So you can lift the left leg up straight or slightly bent. Draw in before lifting up through the inner thigh to get a nice lift there. You feel the whole back body engaged so fully. Release your left leg down. Do that again. Bend your right knee, slightly lift up from the inner thigh, strong engagement. Release your left leg down, slight bend to your left leg, strong engagement, hugging in before lifting up. Now let's add arms with that action. So as the right leg lifts up, see if you can extend your left arm and lift your left arm up. Lift your right leg up a little bit higher. Release your left arm down. Take your left leg up. Again, slightly bend if you need it. You're hugging in. You're drawing from the inner thigh. You might feel this nice engagement of the back muscles. Now extend your right hand. Spread your right fingers. Lift up and draw down. Take your hands now, extending them toward your toes. Come to the fingernail side of your hand, so the back side of the hand. Now extend, just let the back side of your hand extend toward your toes. Keep your legs active. To do that, I like keeping my toes tucked under, continuing to imagine that I'm squeezing that block. As I slide my hands back, I lift up and come down. We'll do that 2 more times. Hug the inner thighs, draw from the inner thighs up before reaching, sliding your hands back, and release down. Now let's combine the action of the legs and the hands. So reach your hands straight back. You can bend your knees, hugging in, inner thighs lift, or you can come towards straight legs or somewhere right in between. So hug in, inner thighs up, hands slide back, and release down. 2 more times. Get all the actions, a strong, energetic hugging in, inner thighs lift, hands slide back, and release down. And 1 more time. Inhale, rise up, reach back. Exhale, come on down. Now come to all fours position. If through all of that you just felt like, oh my gosh, I really stretched or really contracted those back muscles, just do some movement in cat-cow so that you can get just a little bit more fullness there in the back body. The in-breath as you draw your heart forward and lift your chin. The exhale breath as you look inward toward the heart. Inhale, breath. Heart moves forward, chin lifts. Exhale, breath. And let's stay here for another full cycle of the breath as you draw from the navel to the back body. Get as full as possible in the back body. And release yourself out of the pose. So let's combine the actions that we just did into standing poses. Take 2 blocks as you come to stand. Place the blocks at the top of your mat. Place your hands to the blocks. And as you press your right hand and right foot very firmly down, get lightness on the left foot. Lift your left foot up. Find a balanced position as you take your left hand to your waist. Now that same action that we were doing in Salambhasana, can you bend your left knee just slightly so that you're hugging in, so you're engaging? Can you get the inner thigh muscle to draw back? So you're drawing the foot back as you open the chest. Release. We'll do that 2 more times. Again, it can be a straight leg, or if you want to bend the knee slightly to get more access to the inner thigh engagement, hug in, take the inner thigh way back, and just open up. Think Salambhasana. Think this nice back engagement that you got in the pose. And release. And one more time. Engage the legs. I like to make sure all my toes are spreading on that lifted leg so that I really feel a nice toning of the inner thighs. When you engage your back muscles, you feel this inner strength just naturally occur. You feel so strong in the pose. Reach your foot back. Keep a nice engagement of the back muscles. Release your foot down. And rise up. Let's do the opposite side. With your left hand on the block, your left foot on the mat. Start with both hands on the blocks so that you can get the left hand and left foot nice and firmly rooted. Lift up your right leg. The first challenge is to get this engagement, this hugging in action when your legs are wide apart. Can you draw in? And again, I like you bending both knees actually to get that feeling of hugging in first. Get the inner thigh back. Now, as you open up with the left hand on the block, can you get that feeling of Salambhasana, this nice engagement to the back muscles, really strong action. You're contracting the back to open the front chest. Release out of your pose. We'll do that 2 more times. So as you're ready, lift your right leg, lift your right hand, bend your right knee. If again you need that access to really gain strength in the legs. Take the inner thighs back so you have spaciousness in your low back. We want that freedom so that we can just express in the pose more fully. Release out. Release your right foot down. Let's do that 1 more time. So extend the right leg up. Engage. Draw in before creating that spaciousness from the inner thigh. Get this fullness in the low back area. Reach the right leg back. Release the right leg down, the hand down, and rise up. We'll do one more pose. 3 poses, all on the same theme, working with the Salambhasana actions. I'm still using my blocks. Standing on one leg enables us to create the stability on the standing leg. So we'll have our right leg be our standing leg first, with your hands to the blocks. Keep both hands on the blocks for this one. We'll be going into a variation of Virabhadrasana number 3. And normally in Virabhadrasana number 3, as the left leg leaves the earth, the right leg stays on the earth, obviously, you try to get this nice balance in the hip area. As we go into the pose, bend the knee if necessary again. I just like that action to hug in first. Take the inner thigh up, and from there, keeping those actions, I extend. Yeah, I lift it just a little bit higher. This is kind of coming out of the traditional form of Virabhadrasana number 3. I'm really trying to lift it higher to get the strong engagement of the back muscles. Release your foot down. And let's come to the opposite side. Center your left foot as you extend the right leg up. Again, hug in, however that works for you. Hug in first before lifting the right leg higher. Keep that spaciousness in the hip. Think Salambhasana. Think that nice strong action in the back body to lift the leg even higher, and release your foot down and rise up. Let's try that one more time on both sides. Now, if the blocks feel too wobbly for you, just take your hands to a wall or a countertop, and you'll get a very similar engagement of the back muscles, which is what we're going for. This practice is not all about balance. So if balance is a challenge right now, use a chair, be at the wall, be at the counter. Just create a stability first so that we can get more strength in the back muscles. One more time. Place your hands right at the blocks. Center your right foot this time. Lift your left leg in the air. Bend your knee, hug in. Your inner thigh lifts so far. You keep this nice elongation, nice engagement. The inner thigh helps you lift the leg even higher. Release your foot down. Let's center the left foot. Take your right leg up. Do all the actions, hugging in, inner thighs lift, pelvis broadens so that you can have the freedom to extend and lift the leg even higher. Just notice how the back muscles have to engage to create this strengthening action in the low back, in the lumbar region. Reach it up and release it down. Now let's come to lie on your back. When you lie on your back, bend your knees, plant your feet, lift your pelvis up off the mat. All this practice, we've been working on strengthening the back muscles. You'll notice that your bridge is so much more accessible now after all the engagement in different variations of Salambhasana. Bend your elbows and press your elbows down with your palms facing each other. And notice how just using the elbows helps you get just a little bit more fullness in the chest. Pull in from your heels to your heart. Lift your chest high. Press your head back. Press the tops of the arm bones back. Release your pelvis down. Release your arms. Release your legs. Close your eyes. When we commit this time for a yoga practice, and take our focus, whether it be to a certain muscle area, a certain heart quality that we're looking for, or even a refinement of a pose that we've been practicing. We commit ourselves to this practice. Start to notice how the body shifts. And as we feel these physical changes, start to notice how the mind begins to shift as well. Take your attention to your breath. Allow the breath to travel to that area that we're strengthening. That area of the low back. You allow the breath to give it space. You breathe in and out long. Just as the actions of the practice focused on one area, you can allow this time in Savasana to have the breath take its focus to that same area, fullness in the back body, just through that actions, this massaging action that the breath gives you. You breathe in deep and out long. Breathe in deep and out long. Enjoy your Savasana. Namaste.